How's it going, guys? My name is Ethan Page and welcome to this week's episode of Passing It On, tips and tricks for bow hunting learned through experience, trial and error, hardships. This week's tip is about fletchings. I started out my traditional bow hunting journey sometime back, and my traditional archery journey from years and years ago, from the time I was a kid, shooting feather fletchings. And upon getting super serious into hunting with a traditional bow, completely getting rid of compound, I started with feathers again and was turned on to Arizona Archery Equipment, or AAE, trad vanes. And I had great experiences with trad vanes. And I still believe trad vanes to be an incredible option. I was using them just this season as an option in my quiver in case of wet weather. What I have found overall, by and large, is that because of the profile of trad vanes, they're that typical parabolic plastic vane shape, height configuration that we're used to from the compound world. They're not very tall. Granted, if you have a perfectly tuned arrow, which is the very most important thing, you don't have a whole lot to worry about. And I shot 3-inch 4-fletch trad vanes for that very reason. That extra vane, the fourth vane, allowed for some more stability in the arrow and some variables there, and not sacrificing a bunch of extra weight given they're only 3-inch vanes. I found that 3-inch 4-fletch configuration to be very forgiving, especially shooting off of an elevated rest. And as I said a minute ago, I still use them, especially if I am shooting off an elevated rest, because that's where they definitely seem to shine and do their best work. But for hunting, by and large, across the board, and for the most types of bows, I believe feathers to still be king, particularly 4-inch to 5-inch feathers. Why is that? Well, for one thing, it allows for some variability in your shot. When you're shooting at animals, you might short draw, you might overdraw, you might make a quick shot, you might make a slow shot, you may have wind, you may not, you may have wet weather, you may not. And what I have found is that by shooting feathers at the ranges that I hunt, which is 15 and under always with this bow, feathers don't make a lot of difference. I did a whole video about the differences between trad vanes and feathers about 2 years ago. And I still believe trad vanes to be quieter. They are faster. They have a lot of advantages over feathers. Wet weather, they will always be king. Whenever hunting or shooting in wet weather, I don't like feathers. Eventually you brush them against enough wet brush, or you are in a torrential downpour, those fletchings are going to get laid down. Will they still do the job of a fletching? Sure. But once maybe the rain stops or lets up, you maybe pull your arrow off, fling some water off of it, and re-knock your arrow, and you're good to go for the most part. But with trad vanes, you don't have those problems. For hunting, for me, for bow hunting, whitetail deer particularly, within 15 yards, I get all the same advantages with little downside by using feathers. I get cleaner arrow flight. My arrows are still tuned perfect, so it's not like I'm as worried about these feathers correcting the flight of my arrow. But like I said, sometimes I short draw, sometimes I draw long, sometimes I have to shoot a little faster, sometimes I have time to really pick my spot, settle in, and make a really controlled shot. But the feathers allows for all of that. If I do short draw and that arrow ends up flying a little bit stiff, these taller 4-inch long shield cut feathers are going to keep that arrow flying straight faster off of the bow than those vanes would. So they're more forgiving in that aspect. Or if I let's say overdraw the bow. I get really excited and draw, you know, a little bit past what I normally would, and that shoots a touch on the weak side, which isn't as likely. Same thing. It's going to take care of that problem. You're going to get clean. You're going to get straighter arrow flight faster with these taller, longer feathers, and it's going to come off of your shelf, especially if you are shooting off the shelf. It's going to come off your bow a lot cleaner with these feather fletchings. So, and then again, to noise, at the ranges I'm hunting, I'm not concerned about deer seeing, hearing my arrow flying through the air. My bows are quiet. I take steps to quiet my bows down. I have not found a reaction to the arrow to be a problem because a lot of my shots are coming well within 15 yards. And again, overall, I think they're just more forgiving, and that longer fletching like that, it's going to catch some more wind. Back to my experiences and how I hunt, I don't hunt a lot in high winds. If it's super windy, the deer are not going to move as well anyway, and it's less safe because you could be dealing with widowmakers or leaners in the woods that could come free, and you could be severely injured or killed if you're trying to hunt in those conditions. So super duper windy conditions, I don't worry about it. But again, at the ranges that I hunt, especially on the ground where I spend most of my time, like I am right now, being 15 yards from that backstop, my arrow might fly a little bit sideways down range, but I'm 15 yards away. Shooting 2-blade Zwickey broadheads, I'm not concerned about losing a lot of performance or penetration at this short range just because that wind is pushing my arrow over a little bit. I would rather take the added benefits as a bow hunter of those little bit taller, little bit longer feather fletchings. Guys, my name's Ethan. Again, thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and check back in with me next time. Until then, get outside, shoot straight.